Have you ever felt that there is something about you that cannot be explained? A special connection with the world around you, a different energy that seems to flow through your hands, your presence, your essence? What if I told you that this is not a coincidence, but rather a hidden gift, something that transcends centuries and civilizations, a power that few understand, but that can change lives? Many call it the gift of healing, others link it to shamanism, Reiki, to ancient rituals that healers, priests, and those chosen by the spirits practice to restore the balance of body and soul. Religions, over time, have tried to decipher this mystery, but the truth has always been before us, and perhaps within you. What separates the physical world from the spiritual is not as solid as it seems, and those who carry this ability are called to something greater. But how do you know if you are one of these chosen ones? How do you recognize the signs? Stay with me until the end of this video, because today, you will discover the truth that can change everything. Maybe you've always felt different. Since childhood, there was something in you that no one could explain. A deeper look at things, a sharp intuition, an almost supernatural ability to sense when something wasn't right. People have always come to you to confide, as if they knew, deep down, that your energy brings balance, even without understanding why. But is this just a coincidence? Or a sign of something much greater? What hides behind this sensitivity? What did the ancient shamans, healers, and wise men know that most have forgotten? What has society never told you about your natural ability to connect the visible and the invisible? What we are going to reveal here may completely change the way you see your own existence. But before revealing the signs that prove you have a gift for healing, I need to warn you, this knowledge has never been accessible to everyone. Throughout history, those who carried this ability were silenced, feared, and even persecuted. It's no wonder that so many religions have hidden the truth about the power of those who can manipulate energies, feel vibrations, and transform pain into healing. Ancient healers used herbs, songs, and rituals to balance the body and soul, but this was not taught to you. Why? What lies behind this mystery? You are about to discover the truth that can finally set you free, but only if you are prepared to see beyond what you've always been told. Since the dawn of humanity, there have been those called to act as bridges between the physical and spiritual worlds, bringing balance, healing, and transformation to those around them. Spiritual healers are not just doctors of the soul, but true guardians of the universal energetic flow. In different cultures, these individuals have been recognized in various ways. Shamans, sages, healers, priests, oracles, monks, and mystics, all possessing a rare ability to channel an invisible force that transcends common human understanding. Their gift is not limited to touch or words, but manifests through a deep connection with human suffering and the ability to restore what is fragmented. In some traditions, they used sacred herbs, rituals, and chants to realign the energies of the body and soul. In others, they worked silently, simply allowing their presence to transmit relief and transformation. Though methods may vary, the essence of their mission is the same: to restore harmony, guide the lost, and awaken the dormant divine spark within each being. The true spiritual healer does not choose their path. They are chosen. From birth, their soul carries a mission that often takes years to be understood. Their call does not come from human institutions, but from a higher force that guides and instructs them in moments of solitude, challenges, and trials. This connection with the divine manifests in various ways: through prophetic dreams, deep intuitions, an inexplicable sense of duty to humanity, and, most importantly, an acute sensitivity to perceive pains that others cannot even name. They do not heal solely with techniques. Their true healing tool lies in their presence, their words, their energy. Transformation happens because their essence vibrates at a different frequency, a vibration that dissolves barriers, fears, and traumas. But this mission also carries a weight: the need to understand that their gift is not for themselves, but for the world. The healer does not seek glory or recognition. They simply are, driven by an internal call that makes them continue, even when everything seems difficult. All spiritual traditions, at some level, recognize those who have received from God the gift of healing and restoration. In sacred texts, we find mentions of prophets, saints, and sages who, through their faith and connection with the divine, were able to perform miraculous healings. Jesus touched the sick, and they rose. Moses transformed reality through words. Francis of Assisi calmed the wounded with just his presence. What did these beings have in common? An absolute surrender to the purpose entrusted to them. Similarly, today's spiritual healers carry within them a spark of that same power, a silent call that drives them to transform others' pain, often without fully understanding how it happens. This mission is not random. It was given by God to be fulfilled with humility, wisdom, and love. But throughout history, this truth has been distorted, silenced, and even feared by those who did not understand the depth of this gift. Spiritual healers have always existed, but were not always understood. In ancient civilizations, they were revered as mediators between humans and the divine, responsible for healing physical and spiritual ailments. In Greece, the priests of Asclepius were sought by those seeking healing and guidance. In Egypt, those initiated into sacred mysteries used healing techniques that mixed science and spirituality. Among indigenous peoples, shamans conducted rituals with herbs, smoke, and songs to restore the energy of the sick. However, over time, society began to fear those who held this knowledge. During the Middle Ages, the Inquisition persecuted those who demonstrated spiritual healing gifts, calling them heretics and witches. Even within organized religions, many were silenced to keep the healing power from the people and centralize it in institutions. What was once a sacred gift came to be seen as something dangerous and subversive. But the truth is that spiritual healers have never ceased to exist. They continue to emerge in each generation, carrying within them the same mission as their ancestors: to heal, restore, and illuminate those ready to awaken. And if you feel this call within you, it may be because your role in this story is much greater than you imagine. From a very young age, many spiritual healers realize that there is something different about their journey. It's as if they have always lived on the fringes of the world, as observers of a reality that they cannot fully fit into. This feeling of not belonging can be overwhelming because while others lead their lives in a normal way, the healer finds themselves carrying deep questions about existence, feeling pains that are not only their own and seeing beyond what the eyes can see. The solitary journey of the spiritual healer occurs because their soul operates on a different frequency, vibrating between the material and spiritual worlds, always transitioning between dimensions of consciousness that most people do not even perceive. Often, they try to fit in, to mold themselves to societal expectations, but deep down they feel called to something greater, something that goes beyond conventional routines and imposed standards. Isolation can be a significant challenge, as without understanding their mission, the healer might believe they are alone, that their difference is a burden and not a gift. But the truth is, this solitude is not a punishment. It is a call for self-knowledge, for inner search, because before healing others, they need to understand their own essence. The reason so many spiritual healers feel that they do not belong in this world is directly linked to their spiritual origin. These souls often carry ancestral knowledge, wisdom that was not learned in books or taught by anyone. It simply exists within them. They have an expanded perception of reality, feel the energy of everything around them, can sense intentions even before words are spoken, and this can make them deeply misunderstood. We live in a world that mostly values only what can be seen, touched, and rationally explained. However, the spiritual healer walks between the visible and the invisible, between the tangible and the subtle. They perceive that there is something beyond, but when they try to share this knowledge, they are met with looks of doubt, disbelief, and, in many cases, scorn. This social withdrawal makes many spend years questioning, "Am I strange? Is there something wrong with me?" But the truth is, they are not here to fit in. They are here to transform. The discomfort they feel towards the world is not a mistake, but a sign that they have come to bring new awareness, to awaken those who still live on autopilot. Another major challenge for spiritual healers is the emotional intensity they carry. Many do not realize it, but they are constantly absorbing the pain, fears, and anxieties of the people around them. The healer does not only feel their own emotions but also those of others. They walk the world like an energetic sponge, capturing vibrations from environments, hidden feelings, and even physical pains of those they live with. This weight can be exhausting, as without realizing it, they may carry within them emotions that are not their own, confusing their energy with that of others. If they do not know how to protect themselves, the spiritual healer can easily feel drained, exhausted, and without strength to continue. This is why many, throughout life, go through periods of exhaustion, demotivation, or even depression, not understanding that the real problem is not within them, but in the amount of external energy they absorb. Learning to balance this sensitivity is essential, whether through spiritual practices like meditation, herbal baths, Reiki, or any other form of energetic purification. The healer needs to understand that their sensitivity is not a weakness but a powerful tool, as long as it is used with awareness and protection. Being a spiritual healer means carrying within a sensitive radar for the world's pains. And when this sensitivity is not properly managed, it can become an unbearable burden. Many healers end up developing anxiety, deep sadness, or even physical illnesses without knowing that the origin of this is not in their own lives, but in the energy of the people around them. Intense empathy can make them feel responsible for alleviating others' suffering, but there is a limit that must be respected. One cannot carry the whole world on their shoulders. That is why self-knowledge and balance are fundamental. Energetic protection should be a daily practice. Through prayer, contact with nature, the use of crystals, the practice of Reiki, the conscious channeling of energy to avoid overload. Additionally, it is important to learn to say no, to set boundaries, and to understand that helping does not mean sacrificing oneself. The true healer does not wear themselves out until exhaustion. They find ways to keep their own light shining so they can illuminate the path for others. It is no coincidence that so many spiritual healers face intense challenges throughout life. The higher someone's purpose, the more resistance they face. This happens because forces that work against humanity's spiritual evolution try to prevent the spread of light. Many healers go through periods of spiritual attacks, inexplicable sensations of exhaustion, constant doubts, and even extreme difficulties that seem to arise out of nowhere. Additionally, the physical world itself can seem hostile. Society does not teach deep spirituality, and those who try to share this knowledge are often ridiculed or discredited. Spiritual awakening is accompanied by trials, because the healer needs to be strong enough to fulfill their mission. This means they will be tested, challenged, and placed in situations that require unwavering faith. But all this is part of their spiritual refinement. Those who carry the gift of healing also carry within themselves the ability to overcome any obstacle, and the greater the challenge, the greater their strength. One of the greatest challenges of the spiritual healer does not come from the outside, but from within. Doubt, fear of not being good enough, the fear of just imagining all this. These thoughts can become powerful enemies. Society constantly teaches us to doubt what we feel, to seek answers only in the material world, to ignore our intuition, and to question everything that cannot be scientifically proven. With this, many healers spend years trying to deny their essence, suppressing their gifts, seeking to fit into patterns that were not made for them. But denying one's mission does not make it disappear. On the contrary, it only prolongs the suffering. The healer needs to learn to trust themselves, to reconnect with their intuition, and to understand that their gift is not a mistake but a gift. Faith in the divine mission is what strengthens those chosen for this path. When the healer aligns with their essence, fear disappears, doubt dissolves, and the truth becomes unquestionable. And it is at this moment that they finally become who they were always destined to be. There is something inside you that you have never been able to fully explain, an almost uncontrollable need to help, to reach out, to alleviate others' pain. And the most curious thing is that this is not just a common desire to be helpful, but something deeper, almost instinctive, as if your soul knew that this is your true mission. You may have noticed this as a child when you felt restless seeing someone suffer, when you tried to fix fights around you, or when you felt intense compassion for people you didn't even know. This calling is the voice of your spirit guiding you towards what you were born to do. Many spiritual healers feel this restlessness for years, until one day they realize that their role in the world is not just to exist, but to transform. If this feeling that there is something greater waiting for you is constant, it may be because you have already been chosen. You just haven't yet understood the grandeur of this calling. Did you ever look up at the sky as a child and wonder why you were here? From an early age, many spiritual healers feel that there is something special about their existence, a purpose that goes beyond traditional explanations. While other children simply lived their lives without questioning, you may have found yourself reflecting on the meaning of things, feeling out of place in a reality that seemed not to understand you. You might have noticed this by feeling an inexplicable emptiness, a sense that the world around you was not exactly as it should be, as if something was missing. This restlessness is one of the greatest signs that your soul carries a divine purpose, because those born to heal come into the world with this latent consciousness. And even without fully understanding it at first, this mission has always been present, waiting for the right moment to be discovered. Have you noticed that people tell you things they wouldn't tell anyone else? Sometimes, even strangers seem to feel an inexplicable trust in opening up to you, sharing fears, pains, and deep secrets. This is not by chance, but one of the clearest signs that you carry a gift of healing. Your energy conveys warmth and safety, making people feel they can be authentic around you. This phenomenon occurs because spiritual healers emit a high frequency that attracts those who need healing, even if they do not consciously know why. And often, just your presence is enough to bring relief to those who are suffering. If you have experienced this countless times, understand, this is not just part of your personality. It is part of your mission. Have you ever entered a place and immediately felt a heaviness in the air, as if something was wrong, even without knowing exactly what? Or have you been next to a person and, within seconds, knew that they were not well, even if they did not say a word? This happens because your energetic sensitivity is greater than most people's. As a spiritual healer, you pick up vibrations that others ignore. You sense when an environment is charged, when someone is lying, when a presence is beneficial or harmful. This perception is a gift, but can also be a challenge because if you do not know how to protect yourself, you might end up absorbing these negative energies. Learning to balance this sensitivity is essential so that you can fulfill your mission without overloading yourself. The journey of a spiritual healer begins, first and foremost, with their own healing. This means that, before helping others, they go through intense periods of suffering, challenges, and trials. This can include losses, betrayals, periods of extreme loneliness, or illnesses that test their emotional and spiritual resilience. But none of this happens by chance. It is these experiences that shape their strength, deepen their compassion, and awaken their true mission. The greatest healers are not those who have never suffered, but those who have survived suffering and found a way to transmute pain into learning. If your life has been marked by moments of profound transformation, understand, all of this was preparing you to become what you were born to be. Has nature always been a refuge for you? Do you feel that trees, rivers, mountains, and even the wind transmit silent but powerful messages to you? This is one of the most evident signs of a spiritual healer. The connection with nature is not just a personal preference. It is an ancestral calling. Many spiritual healers have a deep bond with natural elements because it is through them that their energy is restored. Additionally, animals often feel attracted to you as if they recognize your healing essence. In many spiritual traditions, it is believed that healers are accompanied by nature spirits who guide and protect them on their journey. If you have always felt more comfortable in nature than in the chaos of the modern world, this could be a strong indication that your gift is linked to the Earth's primordial force. nothing seems to be enough. You may have even followed conventional paths, studied, worked, built a life within the standards, but still feel that something is missing. This feeling of incompleteness is a calling. The spiritual healer cannot be satisfied with an ordinary life because their soul knows they were born for something greater. This restlessness often leads to the search for answers, for knowledge, for something that finally brings meaning to this existence. And when that moment comes, when the healer awakens to their true mission, everything changes. The pieces begin to fit together, and what was once confusion turns into clarity. If you feel that you are constantly searching for something without knowing exactly what, it may be because your soul already recognizes the path, even if your mind does not yet understand. Often, you don't need to do anything. Just being present already transforms the environment. People feel calmer around you, feel that they can be themselves, that there is an inexplicable peace when they are near you. This happens because your naturally elevated energy emanates healing. You may not even realize it, but your mere existence already brings relief to those around you. This is because spiritual healers vibrate at a different frequency, and this vibration spreads to everything and everyone around them. Strange dreams, premonitions, intuitions that seem to come out of nowhere and then are confirmed. All of this can be a sign that your connection with the spiritual is much stronger than you imagine. Many spiritual traditions affirm that spiritual healers receive messages from the divine through dreams and visions. These messages can come from spiritual guides, ancestors, or simply from the expanded consciousness that manifests when we are in altered states of perception. If this happens to you, do not ignore it. This may be a direct calling to your mission. Being a spiritual healer doesn't just mean feeling the pain of others and wanting to help. It means, above all, being prepared for this mission. Just as a warrior needs to train before battle, the spiritual healer must strengthen their energy daily to fulfill their purpose without wearing themselves out. For this, practices such as meditation, prayer, and connecting with nature are essential. Meditation helps to clear the mind and balance internal energies, allowing the healer to connect with their true essence without external interference. Prayer, regardless of spiritual tradition, strengthens the connection with God and higher forces that offer protection and wisdom. Being in contact with nature is also fundamental, as natural elements help discharge accumulated energies and restore spiritual balance. Additionally, techniques such as using crystals, like black tourmaline for protection or green quartz for healing amplification, herbal baths, incense, and even sacred chants are powerful tools to keep energy aligned. The more these practices are incorporated into daily life, the stronger the healer's energy will be, and the greater their capacity to act without wearing themselves out. One of the greatest challenges for a spiritual healer is learning to balance their sensitivity. Feeling the energy of others, absorbing emotions, and picking up vibrations can be a powerful gift, but it can also become a burden if not well managed. The first step to using this sensitivity healthily is developing discernment, understanding when it is necessary to intervene and when it is better to step back. Not all pains are meant to be carried, and not all problems need to be solved by the healer. Creating healthy energetic boundaries is essential so that this sensitivity does not turn into overload. Techniques such as visualizing a golden light around the body, using protective mantras, and setting clear boundaries in interactions are effective ways to maintain balance. Additionally, it is important to cultivate the habit of asking yourself, is this emotion really mine, or am I absorbing it from someone else? When the healer learns to differentiate what belongs to them from what belongs to others, they become able to help without losing themselves in the process. Energetic exhaustion is one of the most common challenges faced by spiritual healers, and if not treated seriously, it can lead to emotional, mental, and even physical exhaustion. To avoid this, some tools become indispensable. Grounding is one of the main ways to discharge negative energies. Walking barefoot on the earth, touching trees, and immersing in natural waters help release excess accumulated energy. The practice of conscious breathing is also a powerful ally, as it allows the healer to expel what does not belong to them and recover internal balance. Additionally, using protection symbols, such as the hamsa, the Eye of Horus, or the Reiki symbol, can be a valuable energetic reinforcement. Avoiding toxic environments and distancing oneself from people with very dense vibrations when necessary is also essential. The healer should not feel guilty for needing moments of withdrawal. This is not selfishness, but rather a necessity so that they can continue their mission without consuming themselves. When well prepared, the healer can act without having their energy constantly drained, becoming an increasingly pure channel for healing and transformation. No spiritual healer can fully exercise their mission without a true connection with God, the Source, the Divine, whatever name they attribute to this supreme force. The gift of healing does not come solely from the healer's own energy, but rather from their ability to become a channel for this higher energy. The stronger this connection, the more potent the healing flow that passes through them. Seeking this connection means setting aside daily moments for introspection, dialogue with the divine, surrender, and humility. Inner truth is also an essential factor. A healer needs to know themselves before attempting to help others. This means recognizing their own shadows, pains, and limitations. For true healing does not occur through perfection, but rather through authenticity. The healer who deeply knows themselves and trusts in their connection with God is able to act without fear, doubt, or hesitation, as they understand they are not alone and their mission does not depend solely on them, but on a much greater force guiding them every step of the way. Many spiritual healers spend years asking themselves, "What exactly is my mission?" Although the essence of the calling is the same, to bring healing and balance to the world. The way each healer fulfills this purpose can vary immensely. Some are called to physical healing through therapies like Reiki, massage, herbal medicine, and holistic medicine. Others work in emotional healing, being psychologists, therapists, or simply attentive listeners who transform lives with their words. There are also those whose mission is energetic healing, assisting in the cleansing of environments, spiritual harmonization, and guiding other souls. To identify your path within this mission, it is essential to pay attention to the signs. What makes you feel alive? What do people always say you do well? When do you feel you are in the right place? A healer's mission does not need to be something grand in the eyes of the world. The true impact is in the transformation they generate, even if it is only in a single person. And when this mission is found, there are no more doubts, just the certainty that everything has always been leading to this moment. Since the dawn of humanity, spiritual healers have played a fundamental role in maintaining the balance between the physical and spiritual worlds. They were shamans, priests, healers, oracles, and sages who possessed knowledge about the mysteries of energy, healing, and connection with the divine. However, as civilizations grew and structured themselves into more rigid societies, this power began to be seen as a threat to those who wanted to control the masses. If people knew that healing did not need to come exclusively from institutions, but could be accessed through their own spiritual connection, what power would remain for those who desired to govern? Therefore, throughout history, natural spiritual practices were silenced, demonized, and even eradicated in some cultures. During the Inquisition, for example, thousands of women and men who possessed knowledge about herbs, energies, and natural healing were persecuted, accused of witchcraft, and murdered. What society doesn't want you to know is that these healers were not dangerous. They merely held knowledge that liberated people from dependency on control systems. The concealment of the true role of healers was a strategy to keep power in the hands of a few, while the majority remained ignorant of their own spiritual capacities. There is a reason why those who awaken to their true essence are often discredited, ridiculed, and, in some cases, persecuted. Society has been structured in a way to keep people disconnected from their own spirituality, so they depend on external authorities to tell them what is right and wrong, what is allowed and forbidden, what is true and false. When someone awakens to the fact that they carry within themselves a real spiritual gift, they become independent, and an independent spirit is uncontrollable. Throughout history, great spiritual masters who brought teachings of healing and liberation were seen as threats to the system. Jesus, for example, healed with his hands, multiplied food, brought comfort and wisdom without needing the intermediation of priests or temples. And what was his fate? Crucifixion. Other great sages who dared to challenge the system, preaching that true power was within each person, were also persecuted or had their teachings distorted. The fear that power systems have is not just of spiritual healers, but of the knowledge they carry. For once a person discovers their true divine nature, they can never be manipulated in the same way. If there is something you must understand along this journey, it is that your connection with the divine is unique and personal. No book, no doctrine, no religious leader can determine your spiritual truth more than your own direct experience. For centuries, we have been taught that we needed intermediaries to access the sacred, that only through churches, dogmas, and specific rituals could we connect with God. But the reality is that spirituality cannot be limited by human structures. Spiritual healers have always known this because they feel this connection naturally, through intuition, the messages they receive, the energies they perceive. However, this wisdom has been suppressed so that people were conditioned to doubt their own ability to access the divine. Society wants you to believe that spirituality is outside of you, in a sacred book, in a temple, in a religious leader. But the truth is that the most powerful temple that exists is within you. Trusting your own spiritual experience means having the courage to question, to feel, to perceive the signs that life gives you. It means freeing yourself from the shackles of fear and understanding that you do not need anyone's approval to be who you truly are. Nothing in your life has happened by chance. Every experience, every pain, every moment of doubt was preparation for something much greater than you imagined. From an early age, your soul already knew it carried a special purpose, but society, circumstances, and even fear may have tried to silence this truth. But now, at this moment, everything makes sense. You were called to be a spiritual healer. You not only feel more, perceive more, and connect more deeply with the world. You were chosen to transform, to restore, to elevate those who have not yet awakened to this truth. Your journey may have been lonely up until now because great missions require preparation, and healers go through intense trials before understanding the true reason for their existence. And this calling cannot be ignored. Now that you recognize the signs, that you understand what your soul has always tried to show you, the inevitable question arises. Are you ready to accept what you were always destined to be? Your sensitivity is not a mistake. Your compassion, your intense empathy, your ability to absorb the world's pains are not weaknesses. They are gifts. And these gifts were given to you because your soul chose this mission long before you arrived here. God, the universe, the creative force, call it what you will, entrusted you with a sacred role, to be a channel of healing and transformation. But, contrary to what many think, healing does not just mean touching someone and making them better instantly. True healing happens when you awaken others to their own light, when you become a mirror that makes people see who they really are. That is why you were placed on this journey, to guide, to inspire, to bring back to the world a wisdom that was lost over time. This is the true meaning of your gift. It was not given to you to be ignored or suppressed, but to be shared, to be lived with all its intensity. And it is this divine mission that makes you unique, that sets you apart from those who still live on autopilot, without realizing the grandeur of what is happening around them. Accepting this mission is understanding that you are not alone. There are many other healers awakening, many other chosen ones who feel the same restlessness, the same need to make a difference. And when you assume your true identity as a spiritual healer, you become a fundamental piece in the transformation of the world. Every word you say, every gesture, every moment of conscious presence can change a life. You may not realize it immediately, but your energy affects everything around you. That advice you gave, that conversation that seemed simple, that moment when you just listened to someone in silence, All these are acts of healing. When you accept your gift, you start to see that the impact you make goes far beyond what the eyes can see. You begin to elevate the vibration of people, environments, and ultimately, of humanity itself. And that is the true reason you are here, to be a beacon of light for a world that is often plunged into darkness. But for this to happen, there is a decision that only you can make. Now you know. You can no longer deny it. You can no longer pretend that you do not feel this calling pulsating within you. The question now is no longer whether you are a spiritual healer, but what you will do with it. You can continue your life as before, ignoring the signs, repressing your sensitivity, and trying to fit into a world that was not made for those who came to transform it. Or you can accept your mission, trust in what you have always felt, and take the first step to become what you were born to be. This is the moment to act. Seek knowledge, strengthen your energy, connect with others who share the same calling. Do not wait any longer to recognize your true identity, because the world needs you. Many people are still lost, seeking answers, and perhaps it is through you that they will find a way. Are you ready to assume this responsibility? Are you ready to live your truth? The decision is yours, but know that once awakened, your soul will never be the same. Now that you know the truth about who you are, there is only one choice left. Accept your gift and embrace your journey. There is no more room for doubts, for denying your essence, or for trying to mold yourself to what the world expects. You were called for something greater, and this is your opportunity to finally walk in the direction of your purpose. Being a spiritual healer does not mean being perfect or having all the answers. It means being willing to evolve, to learn, to share your light even when the path seems uncertain. It means trusting your intuition, your sensitivity, and your ability to transform lives, starting with your own. Every step you take from now on will be guided by the divine force that chose you, and the more you allow yourself to live this truth, the more clarity and purpose you will find. Do not be afraid. The world needs more awakened healers, more people who bring healing and balance, and now you know that this mission is also yours. But this journey does not end here. On the contrary, this is just the beginning. You received the answers you needed, but now is the time to go further, to delve deeper, to strengthen even more your connection with your purpose. Seek knowledge, practice silence to hear the voice of your intuition, surround yourself with people who understand this path. Expand your spirituality, experiment with practices that strengthen your energy and help you maintain the necessary balance to follow this path firmly. Whether through meditation, prayer, study, or direct experience, each new discovery will bring you closer to your true essence. Spiritual awakening is a continuous process, and the more you surrender to it, the more your life transforms. Do not ignore the signs, do not doubt your calling. Just move forward, knowing that with each step you will be more aligned with what your soul always knew to be true. If this message resonated with you, if something in your heart pulsed stronger throughout this video, then know that you are not alone. There are many other chosen ones who have not yet awakened, who are still confused, searching for answers that can change their lives. And that is why I invite you. Share this message, spread this truth so that more people can recognize who they really are. If this content has helped you in any way, like this video, leave your comment telling which part touched you the most, and subscribe to continue receiving content that will strengthen your spiritual journey. Each of your interactions makes this message reach more and more people who need to hear this at this moment. Your light has the power to illuminate the path of others, and together we can build a chain of spiritual awakening that transcends any limit. So, let's go on this mission together. The world needs awakened healers, and now, more than ever, it is time to answer this call. You discovered that you carry a special gift, but there is something you need to know. There is an even deeper revelation about spiritual healers that can completely change your perception of who you really are. If you leave now, you might miss the final piece of this puzzle. Click on the next video appearing on the screen and discover what you have not been told yet. This could be the answer you have been waiting for your entire life.